What's going on, YouTube? So affordable vehicles are on the rise as vehicle prices in general continue to also rise, which is why we're excited to see the Maverick be refreshed for 2025.
It's now offering more than ever before, but still manages not to break the bank.
So overall, is this better than ever? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So first off, let's go ahead and start out under the hood for our spec dump. Now, new for 2025, the hybrid system becomes standard equipment again. However, that's not what we have today. We have the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine making 238 horsepower. That's going to be routed to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And on today's Tremor model, we have 23 miles per gallon combined.
Now, the base price for Mavericks in 2025 is $26,000. And if you're looking to buy a Ford Maverick or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we're going to be taking it out on a spin later on in this video. We're going to be getting things like our signature sound level reading, as well as discussing resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because Ford has made a ton of updates to both the exterior as well as the interior. Now, if you've seen a few of these Mavericks out and about, you'll probably notice that there are some pretty decent changes for 2025 in terms of the overall exterior look that begins up here in the front. So what Ford has essentially done is kind of introduce some more elements from their larger trucks, the Ranger and the F-150. That's especially present here with this brand new trim level called the Tremor. So this one has a really nice boxy look to it. The grille here looks nice and rugged as well and has those special accents just like the F-150 has as well. Each of the trim levels will have its own unique flavor. Now, coming over here to our headlights, these are also new for 2025. We've got a new shape to this with the daytime running light that kind of bends around and curves down the fascia. Higher end examples will come with projector LED headlights. The lower examples will come with reflector LED headlights, although we do still have the incandescent turn signal indicator. Now, as I drop down below, we've got some special touches for this more rugged off-road capable Tremor. You're going to notice that we have recovery hooks. Also, when you kind of peek underneath of the vehicle, you'll see that you have skid plates back there. Those are real metal skid plates giving you some legitimate extra off-road capability. Now, as you move around to the rear, you're going to notice some subtle updates back here as well.
Yeah, and I think it overall still has that very traditional truck design that a lot of owners will be looking for. You have Maverick stamped into the tailgate, and let's go ahead and check out the tail lights themselves. They do have a slight revision this year. Now, here on the Tremor model, we have a fully incandescent tail light. So none of the elements are LED, your brake light and turn signal, as well as reverse light. However, you can get that if you choose the Lobo, which is new this year. As we drop down to the lower fascia, this is going to be kind of an issue for those of you that like symmetry because the license plate thing is still going to be over here on the right side. Now, as far as your tow rating, it's 2,000 pounds standard on both engine configurations. However, if you have the tow package like this one, it's 4,000 pounds as a maximum. Now, even though the Maverick is a small truck, we do still have actually quite a usable bed. So if I lower the tailgate, I do want to point out it's not going to be dampened, but we do have a 4.5-foot bed. That is going to be standard on every single Maverick model. You also have a spray-in bed liner. We actually have the Delete on this particular model. And as far as features are concerned, you do have rails, as you can see across the side. And then over there on the left side, you'll actually find a really nice power outlet there. So that's going to help keep things charged up for tailgating, or if you need to power some tools in your truck. Additionally, on the sides you even have a bottle opener. So overall, it's actually a quite usable bed. And if you need something a little bit longer, they do even offer a bed extender accessory. Your maximum payload is 1,500 pounds.
Now, with the wide variety of trim levels, you have a wide variety of wheel options as well. They begin at 17-inch alloys and go up to 19-inch alloys. This is a 17-inch alloy here on the Tremor. Again, it's going to have a little bit more of that rugged overall design. The other big thing, of course, though, are these tires. As you can see, these are all-terrain tires. Let's give that a meatier look as well as more capability. Got some special branding right there, gloss black finish up here on our mirrors, and you will have both heating and blind spot monitoring standard on the majority of trim levels.
Now you saw me just look at the bed, and as far as the overall vehicle length, it's 199.8 inches. This is the only way that you can get the Maverick. So definitely on the base end, it's nice that you're going to get the crew cab configuration with the 4.5-foot bed, that's for sure. Now I do also want to point out you can even get a two-tone roof if you choose that new Lobo model this year. And as far as your safety systems are concerned, you're going to get 2 of those as standard equipment. That will be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, as well as auto high beam headlights. Now as you move up the trim structure, that's where you further unlock things like lane keeping assist as well as adaptive cruise control. But guys, the cabin is vastly changed, so let's go ahead and dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Let's go ahead and move to the interior. First, we'll take a look at the key fob. This is your typical Ford Smart Entry key fob. You do have both Smart Entry as well as Remote Start, standard on Lariat and Tremor models. They are available on your lower grades. Now, getting inside the vehicle, just grab behind the handle. There is a sensor to unlock the door. And then let's take a look at the interior. So just like with the exterior, Ford has refined the overall interior and made some big improvements, especially when we're talking about technology. But before we get into any specific details, let's start with our seats. So on your lower trims, you are going to have cloth seating, of course, as you'd expect for an affordable vehicle. And when you move up to your upper trims, this gets you Active X. That is a leatherette trim. It's pretty realistic looking. I like the stitching details, especially here on the trimmer. So this has just black is the only color option, but you've got these kind of orange looking accents and stitching details, as well as a speckly texture that actually runs through the seats themselves. Looks pretty nice overall. Down below, you have 8 ways of power adjustment and 2-way lumbar support. And by the way, on the Lariat, you can get a brown interior for the fanciest look. Let's go ahead and climb inside. And now that we're inside, let's look at the rest of the cabin materials. So over here on our door trim, we have a leatherette through here. At the top part is going to be a hard touch plastic with a little texture applied to it. And as we move to the upper dashboard, that same thing will continue through there as well. You have a different piece of trim running through there, kind of a textured material that runs through the center section, and each of the trim levels will have certain differences in terms of the overall aesthetic, just like with the exterior. But let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start, which is now standard on all but the very base model for 2025. And now that it's all fired up, let's dig into some individual details. We'll begin with our gauge cluster, which is new for 2025. We've got an 8-inch partially digital gauge cluster. So right there in the center, that big 8-inch display is reconfigurable with a few different kinds of details. And off to the sides there, you've got your digital renderings for your temperature as well as your fuel. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the leatherette wrapped steering wheel. This comes on the Lariat trim and the Tremor trim as standard equipment. It's manual tilt and telescoping, and of course it is also heated as well. Now let's go ahead and talk about interior storage, because I think you're going to be very impressed that a small truck can deliver as much storage as this Maverick does. So first of all, let's pop open our center console there, and you'll notice it's loaded down with some donuts. How many donuts, you might ask? Well, actually a dozen donuts, which means that it passes our donut test checking out the volume of the center console. However, that's really just one part of the storage situation, because we've got a lot of other storage options. You'll notice we have a big bin here, you have more space through here, another big bin right there, wireless phone charging pad on this side that's on your Lariat and Tremor trims as standard equipment. And then check out the door trim. Ford has basically hollowed this entire thing out, so you can really use this for a lot more storage as well. And there's even a little cubby up here above the infotainment system. So they've really spent a lot of time focusing on the packaging of this vehicle. Now they have a small shifter here. It's Ford's typical electronic shifter. you're just going to twist over to D for drive. You can press that M right there, that will go into a manual shift mode, and you do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Twisting into R, we'll pull up our backup camera. And you'll notice today we've got the premium 360-degree camera system. This is, again, one of the features that's standard on Lariat and Tremor trims. The Tremor, just in general here, is really well equipped. It is the top trim level, so it comes with most of the luxury goodies. And as you can see, nice resolution on this backup camera. It also takes up the entire display, which I'm really happy about. Then just twist over to P for park. You have an electronic parking brake right behind the shifter. And then you'll also notice that right behind here, we've got some buttons. These buttons are really devoted to the Tremor's specific off-road capable features. So you'll notice that it does have a hill descent control. We also even have a locking rear diff. These are things that give the Tremor more capability when you take it out on the, when you take it off the road. Now, let's move on up here and take a look at the next thing, which is a physical volume knob for our audio systems. You have a standard 6-speaker sound system or an optional 8-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. That higher end system is going to be included here on our top model. Let's go ahead and give it a sample. Okay, I'm pretty impressed by this. These Bang & Olufsen sound systems really impress me, usually in Fords, but even here on their most affordable pickup truck, it really does fill up the cabin nicely. It has good bass and good sound quality. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at our display. So this is really a big change for 2025 because previously you had that kind of 8-inch display with a little bit of storage off to the side. Now Ford has expanded this out to a substantially larger 13.2-inch display. Now inside of the display, you'll find your climate controls now. That's going to be located down here on this lower panel. We have a dual zone automatic setup on your top models. And you can just easily adjust the temperature with these little arrows running through here, but there are no physical knobs, so keep that in mind if you really like that tactile feel. Also on the side there, you have your 3-stage heated seats. Those are standard on your upper trims with the dual zone climate. Seat ventilation is not offered on the Maverick. Now, as far as the infotainment system itself, it does have upgraded software. We've moved to Sync 4, which is not the digital experience, but it is the newest version of Sync. And inside of that, you're going to notice you have built-in navigation. We also have new wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which do fill up the entire screen. And the overall resolution of these screens is also much improved over last year. Now as we rise above here, we've got a manual dimming mirror. Got some lighting up top. And you can get a sunroof. It's an available option.
Now, like I said, at the side of this vehicle, it is only available in crew cab configuration, which means that every Maverick, regardless of the price, will have this nice rear seat. And I mean, quite nice. You wouldn't expect a small truck like this to have as good of a back seat as it does. And indeed, we're going to sit at about 36.9 inches of legroom and about 40 inches of headroom. Those are really impressive figures, guys. That's actually going to be bigger than what you get in a lot of mid-size trucks like a Toyota Tacoma, for instance. Now, I'm 5'9". This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and we're looking at about 4.5 inches of additional knee room. Also, my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat. So overall, I'm quite comfortable. And if you're looking, maybe at even cross-shopping with a compact SUV, it's going to be very similar space back here to like a Ford Escape, Toyota RAV4, those types of things. Now, as far as the features, we do have a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders inside. That's going to be included on your upper-end examples. Also included on your upper-end examples are these 2 USB-C ports, as well as a household outlet. I'm really surprised to see that feature thrown in. And then the seats themselves are quite comfortable. You have a power window on your upper end examples in the back. Then if you look over at your door trim, the door trim is going to be pretty much like the front. So it is going to be made of cheaper materials. However, there is so much door storage. It's absolutely ridiculous how much space you have in here. As a matter of fact, the door can swallow up this giant water bottle here, or you could also stick it in the center console. So you actually have 2 spots that you could fit a giant Stanley. So I think that's pretty impressive for a small vehicle like this. And I'm sure you might be curious if these seats fold up to give you more space, and indeed they do. If you grab that strap right there, that will actually fold the seat up, and you have plenty of storage underneath. Just be aware that it does fold in one single piece, so you're not going to be able to have like a person sitting back there with the seats folded up. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the refreshed Ford Maverick. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things. As you can see on the screen right now, we'll also be getting things like our official sound level reading. But first, let's go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
All right, so that was an acceleration up to about 60 miles an hour. Obviously, we're going up a pretty steep incline here, but you can tell this is a pretty quick model, especially when you have that 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. So like we were saying at the spec dump, we do have the upgraded EcoBoost 4-cylinder. Makes 238 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, and as you can see from that acceleration there, it's actually quite, a quick option. I wouldn't say it's going to like blow you away or anything, but it's definitely good enough that you're not going to be like really hunting for power all the time. So I'm definitely happy to see that. This engine is actually standard here on the top end Tremor model. That's going to be the only trim level where it is standard equipment. However, you can option it on to any of the other 3 trim levels.
Yeah, with all that torque, it really gets off the line nicely. And I like what they've done with the engine sound as well. They've really kind of given it this beefy note.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that might be amplification.
Oh,
but
it definitely
sounds more like a truck than you might expect out of just a 2-liter turbo 4. Now, what is standard equipment on the Maverick? The news really this year is that the hybrid has become standard equipment again. So they originally had it standard, then they made it not standard, and then now it's standard again for 2025. That's a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine plus your hybrid components, 191 horsepower and about 150 pound-feet of torque. So definitely this is going to be the more powerful choice in the Maverick lineup. However, 191 horsepower is not terrible for a vehicle of this size, but just know that that is an available option. Actually, it's the standard option for most of the models.
Yeah, and a lot of your decision on that is going to be based on how much you want the extra fuel economy, or if you're planning on doing towing or anything like that, this is probably the better engine option.
Now, I do also want to take a second to mention the new Lobo trim. That does also have this 2-liter turbo engine. It's also going to have some special components as well, and we have covered that on this channel. If you want to see a walk around and some more information, trim level specific information on that, you can find that live on our channel already.
Now as I accelerate here, let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain. That's going to be an 8-speed traditional automatic here with this 2-liter turbo. If you get the hybrid model, instead you'll have an eCVT, which is of course typical for hybrids. But as far as this transmission is concerned, it's nice and responsive. Good and smooth as well in terms of your shifts, and you do have a manual mode.
Now, as far as how the power is routed to the ground, there's a bit to discuss here. So, new this year, the hybrid can get all-wheel drive. Previously, it was front-wheel drive exclusive. Now, the hybrid does have the option of getting an all-wheel drive system. You can continue to get all-wheel drive, of course, with the standard 2-liter turbo model. And then, in addition to that, if you choose the Tremor model, which is what we have today, that has an advanced 4-wheel drive system. So, it's specifically tuned just for this trim level to give you that better off-road capability. And what does that mean when it comes to fuel economy? Well, as you would expect, the hybrid will get the best fuel economy of the bunch. It comes in at 37 miles per gallon combined with the front-wheel drive version. Now, the all-wheel drive is not quite rated just yet. However, Ford is expecting 40 miles per gallon in the city. So that would be down about maybe 2 mpg as compared to the front-wheel drive. So I'd estimate about 35 mpg for that hybrid all-wheel drive. This 2-liter comes in at around 23 mpg with the trim level specifically. As far as some of the other trim levels, those get a bit better fuel economy, can go up to about 25. And as we turn out here on the highway, I want to take a second to discuss ride quality for the Maverick. Now, this is one area that I really like this truck. Of course, this is unibody as compared to the Ranger, as well as some other, smaller trucks that you might be looking at, like a Toyota Tacoma. And part of the benefit of that is the fact that you're going to have more compact SUV-like ride. So you have a really smooth ride quality. It soaks up the bumps really nicely, and you're not going to have those, typical truck vibrations. It really just feels like your average SUV. Now, whether you like that or not, that's going to kind of be up to you. But as far as overall ride, it definitely helps things out for the most part.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed because this Tremor, of course, has the all-terrain tires as well, which are a little bit knottier, but I still don't feel those vibrations coming into the cabin. So they've done a good job of tuning this suspension to be very, very comfortable.
And if you are curious about maybe some of the best and worst riding trucks in the segment, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings, because we've actually taken a look at all of the compact and mid-size trucks out there, and we went through and ranked them individually. So not only can you see where they rank in the segment, you can also sort by things that matter more to you. So if technology is the most important thing, you can see some of the best tech in the segment. You can also see things like the best ride quality as well. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and get our sound level reading. We're going to go ahead and make sure it's on fan speed 1, and we are going 55 miles per hour. 62.1 decibels is what we are sitting at as our official sound level reading in this refreshed Maverick. Now, we don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to some of the rivals. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. Now, as far as that sound level reading, that is going to place it as one of the loudest options that we have tested out in the compact or mid-size truck segment. There's a couple things worth noting here. First of all, you do have a lot of noise amplification coming in. Definitely they're trying to make it feel a little bit more like a truck, so you have a lot of that noise coming in. Also, the Tremor specifically has those off-road focused tires, so I am hearing a lot of tire noise. So keep that in mind. This is going to be definitely a little bit of a louder choice. I'm sure if you got different versions of the Maverick, that honestly might change quite a bit, so do keep in mind we are in the Tremor model specifically. But what's our favorite and least favorite thing about the Ford Maverick? Now, Drew, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with our slam dunk, our favorite thing?
Yeah, so the slam dunk for this is just going to be these refreshed elements. I think this is already a very strong, truck in terms of the overall package, and the fact that they've just added some nice enhancements for 2025 to the design, new trim levels, much better technology. Those are all things that just help this to be a stronger package.
Yeah, I think they really listened to customer feedback and tried to improve on the overall package. Now, as far as the airball is concerned, what has risen quite a bit is the price. Looking back at when this vehicle originally launched, it's not this model year specifically, but since it originally came out, it was under $20,000 for that base model, and certainly that's not the case anymore. It's $6,000 more expensive as a base price, and a lot of the other models have risen as well. So keep that in mind. It's not as affordable as it used to be, but it still is quite an affordable choice. So let's discuss pricing. That's one of the best things about this Maverick, is that it actually is an affordable truck, although it has become a little less affordable over the years. Now, we're starting at $26,395 this year for the XL. As you move up the trim structure, you end in this Tremor model, which starts at just a hair over $40,000. Now, like you can see, we have a starting price of $40,195. We actually do have a credit on this one for that bed liner not being installed, plus our $1,595 destination. All told, we're sitting at $41,295 as tested today. Now, as far as the warranty is concerned, you do have Ford Signature Warranty, which is a 3-year 36,000-mile basic and a 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain. Now, also, if you're looking to buy a Ford Maverick, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Ford Maverick's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 48.8% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 20.9%. Now, it is worth noting that is below industry average for all makes when it comes to resale value by percentage. However, due to this vehicle having a lower MSRP, I would actually anticipate those percentages might go up a bit over the average Ford product.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. That takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Ford is rated below the overall industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our reliability, resale data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to wrap up one of the first reviews of the 2025 refreshed Ford Maverick. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this, and you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a ton of fun on this channel. I promise you won't want to miss out. And we don't just cover trucks. We cover every car on the market pretty much. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies. And if you're a current subscriber, thank you so much for your support.